Hockey Nights in Vegas. My name is Eddie Rivkin. I'm joined as always by Joe Payne. This episode, as always, is brought to you by the Las Vegas Advisor, Anthony Curtis's Las Vegas Advisor. Go to www.lasvegasadvisor.com for all things Las Vegas. We do have to talk about Ageless Forever. And this episode's, Joe's already wincing because he has no idea where I'm going with this. And I haven't had a chance to go on the road, but coming soon, Dr. Pierce and I are going to actually do some of these in his office where he's going to show us some medical things. But for now, until we can get that straightened out, we're just going to talk about really the most important thing to men as they grow older. And that's testosterone. That's the thing that makes manly men manly men. And when you get older, kind of dries up, shrivels up, no literal, well, you know, it's a bad thing. Agelessforever.net, my dear friend, Dr. J.J. Pierce, takes care of guys who have low T, they call it. And you see all those commercials on television for all those bullshit products where you buy a bottle and they give you a bottle free. Okay, folks, that's all happy horse shit. This is medically supervised testosterone replacement therapy for men. It gives you back virility. It gives you back strength. It's overall the thing that makes you a strong male person in the world. And if you're getting a little bit older, take a little simple blood test. In fact, if you call Dr. Pierce's office, you can get a free consultation and talk about stuff like that. But it's nothing more than a little prick in your arm. See, I finally got a dick joke in there. See that, Joe? Stuck the dick joke in.
I saw it. It was kind of small. It was kind of small.
There we go. Now we're in the spirit of stuff. Anyway, a simple blood test will tell you if you have low T. And the fix is even simpler. I'm going to tell you, I have it, right? I'm 58 years old. He took the blood. He goes, not really as good as you're supposed to be. And I go, I really don't want to get on a regimen of shots or anything like that. That's not my thing. He goes, that's one of the treatments. It's not the one that I ascribe to. So all I got is a cream. I take a little bit of cream. I work it on the bag a couple of times a day.
On the bag?
Yeah. Your ball bag?
I thought we hit rock bottom at Little Prick, but obviously,
yeah.
obviously we're going down a rabbit hole.
Look how red you are right now. It's like you have a red light on, and it's beautiful.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Don't listen. I'll bet you a pizza if you got the blood drawn, you'd be low too, because you're 13 years older than I am. And but
you look 13 years old.
I feel it. But I bet, and I challenge you. I challenge you. There you go. I challenge you. I'll pay for the blood test. You go find out if you have it. And if you do, the prescription is very expensive. It's about $60 and it lasts about 2.5 months.
That's all?
That's it.
Wow.
And it's 2 little things of cream. And that's how the testosterone is absorbed back into your body.
You have to apply the cream yourself, or can you get like a young Scandinavian nurse to apply the cream?
As long as it ends up on the bag twice a day, that's all that matters.
Oh my God.
That's it.
Does the FCC have any control over us?
No,
right
this is
okay.
No, none. and we designate these episodes as for adults only. But seriously, Joe, this is important. All dick jokes aside,
okay.
I've been on it about a month, and I can tell you that I feel a difference. And I just got my blood drawn to see if my numbers have gone up after a month, and I'm waiting for the results. And as soon as I get the results,
are we going to broadcast these results?
Yep. I'm going to tell you exactly how much it went up. I'll tell you where it was. I'll tell you everything. Where it's supposed to be, where it was when I started,
and where it is now,
and where it is a month, 6 weeks after I started it. And I'll be absolutely, because it's that important for men as they grow older, take care of themselves.
Yeah.
And if it's one little blood test And $60 every 2 or 3 months,
Well worth it, right?
you have to do it. And you have to go to www.agelessforever.net, sign up on the consultation sheet, say that you're friends of the guys at Hockey Nights in Vegas. JJ will walk you through the whole thing. He'll tell you exactly how it's going to go. He'll tell you what the blood tests that he runs are and why he runs it. And he's going to give you a roadmap to making yourself the best you can be as you get older. And that's the most important thing. Seriously, guys, because this one's only for the guys. You have to do this for yourselves. If you're over 40, 45, 50, right, you're going to most likely have low T. And it's fixable. And it's nothing. We've already gone over what it's going to take to correct it. And we've made jokes about it. But it really is that simple. Joe, let's just jump right into it. The Golden Knights are an awful team at home. There's no other way to explain how the team that has the best road record in the NHL and is the best in the Western Conference still is 9-9 at the Fortress, which used to be a place that teams feared coming to play.
Not
And
anymore.
now all of a sudden they lose 4 straight. They're not scoring goals at home. Last night, the Golden Knights beat the Phoenix Coyotes 5-2, which was the first time, like I said, in 12 games that they had scored more than 3 goals. But do you think last night's game was fool's gold? Are they unconstipated now?
I wouldn't say the trouble, the looming gray cloud, so to speak, for the Vegas Golden Knights at T-Mobile. It's not disappeared, but hopefully it's moving westward. The winds are prevailing. They finally got a performance last night, an incredible performance by Mark Stone, by the way, who could have had at least 5 or 6 goals. I mean, the puck just seemed to be stuck to his stick last night. He missed one breakaway, he missed 2-on-1, but he eventually scored. It's the first time in Vegas Golden Knight history that a player has scored a power play goal and a shorthanded goal in the same game.
Hey, Mark, do you remember a game in your past where you've had that many grade A scoring chances as you did tonight?
Not off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've had them. Yeah, it would have been nice to capitalize probably earlier in the game. And stressing a bit in between periods 1-1. I feel like I should have had 10, but we stuck with it. I thought we did a good job. I mean, we were drawing penalties. We gave ourselves 4 or 5 chances in the power play, which leads to goals. Penalty kill was obviously pretty solid. Didn't give them time and space, which also led to chances for us. So, and then a 5-on-5 game started coming. We started getting some. We actually got quite a few chances. We're getting some looks, and if we can put all that together, I like our chances most nights. You guys are.
So he got a 3-point night. He played great. He played like he's supposed to be playing. And I think a lot of people who are quickly to question, you have to understand this man is coming off a major back surgery. And I don't think anybody's given him any credit for that.
Wait, so you don't think it's justified that we should trade him?
Yeah, there was I'm going to use the term knucklehead because I did that when I called into the post-game show last night with Ryan Wallace. I told him, I said, well, I think it's pretty safe that the knucklehead won't be calling in tonight, demanding that Stone be traded, which is, I mean, ridiculous. I mean, the Vegas Golden Knight fan base is passionate. They're still learning the game to an extent.
Joe, 6 years, that excuse is starting to run out of legs.
I know, but there are some people who, as soon as you lose 3 or 4 games, they're looking to trade. First of all, look at him trade. The guy's got a complete no move clause. They can't trade him unless he says, "Okay, I'll waive my no move clause." That's ridiculous. I mean, the guy's a true leader.
Okay, wait. Okay, let's stop there.
For stopping a true leader.
Let's stop there and talk about the call to strip him of his captaincy. Since we're on a little bit of a Mark Stone tangent, and we may as well stay there because I was going to let some bombs fly later on about, fan-based conduct.
I've heard not only trade him, I've heard take the C away from him, give the
Right.
C to Eichel. I mean,
So
I mean-
we're 6 years in, Joe. We're still learning the game thing. It's kind of running out of juice. I
Yeah,
mean,
you know.
when does it cross that line from fan being short for fanatic? Right? I mean, listen, I'm gonna blast somebody because we're 2 minutes in and I haven't laid the pipe on anybody yet. So I may as well let one fly.
yeah,
There was
I would be disappointed if you weren't laying the pipe.
There's
on
a
somebody.
woman on one of the Facebook groups who suggested that he's old and he's slow and he should be traded or at least stripped of the captaincy. And later on down that thread, oh, wait for it. She said, and I know hockey. Now, this woman works for a company that provide first responder services. Okay. And you and I are very pro-military. We're very pro-police and fire and ambulance and all that other stuff. And this woman works for one of those companies. So she puts up this thread. He sucks, trade him, he's old, and this, that, and the other thing. And when she gets a little pushback by one of the fans who says, well, he's second on the team in scoring, he has a no movement clause, he had back surgery, you're wrong, I know hockey. And all I could think of was, my God, if my friend Joe, God forbid, got into an accident and ended up in this woman's ambulance, I hope she knows more about medicine, but she doesn't know a fucking thing about hockey. My God, man. The last 3 or 4 days, when did Mark Stone ever skate like the breeze?
Never. That's
He was
the reason why he was.
178th
That's the
draft
reason
pick
why
because he couldn't really skate.
Not that he couldn't skate, but his skating was probably his weakest attribute, so to speak.
And he's worked hard on it, but he's never going to skate like Cale Makar or Stevie
or Chandler Stevenson.
Yeah, or Stevie or any. I mean, I have to make a pledge to take myself out of those Facebook groups. Otherwise, this will just turn into a 45-minute bitch session with me laying the pipe on stupid fans. And I know I shouldn't do it, but my God, Mark, the team voted Mark Stone as the captain. Okay. The organization went to him and said, we want you to have the C. He's only 29 or 30 years old.
He's 30,
Yes. Yes, he looks like an old LeBron James. He looks like he's 76. Okay, I get it. He looks a little older than his age. Okay? He's got a lot of hockey miles on him. The man is an unquestioned leader. He's the unmatched. Marchie is the little ball of hate that we all love, right? I get that. But Stone is the right captain for the team until he doesn't want to be the captain anymore. And considering his deal is, till the next comet arrives, he's going to be the captain. Yeah. And there's no reason. Zip, zero, nada. I challenge anybody who's ever had any back pain in their life to say one word about him and his tenacity to play hockey. So
no, it's just like, and the only other person, and we've had this discussion before, the only other person who might be able to be a good captain for this team, in my opinion, is Mossesville. But like you say, he's a little bit too fiery, maybe, to be the captain. He gets emotional, and Stone gets emotional, but Stone gets emotional when he's scoring goals or other teammates are scoring big goals. I mean, he's over and above, he's into it, so to speak. I have no problems with Stone being the captain. I think anybody who's calling for his C to be removed is ridiculous.
They shouldn't be allowed on social media. There's no
anybody. Well, that's the beauty of social media. Yeah. It's always good for a laugh, and some of these comments are literally hysterical, or label you as a knucklehead.
The upside to maybe having Marchie have the C is we would get more Marchie post game. Now we get him once every 3 or 4 games. When you get the C, you kind of have an obligation, for good or for bad, to come out. So the upside to having him as the captain was we would get more unfiltered marching, which works good for us.
Right.
But listen, Mark Stone is not the best player on the Golden Knights. Okay.
Not even close.
But that's not the requisite for having the seat.
No. I mean,
Right?
look around the league. Is Suzuki from Montreal? Is he their best player? He's a good player, but does he deserve it?
He might be. I don't think he deserves the seat.
He doesn't deserve
22
the
years
seat.
old.
Right.
No.
Look at the captain of Minnesota Wild, Spurgeon. Is he the best player on that team?
No, he's not even
close.
not in their top 5.
Right. He's got the C. Look at the Rangers. Everybody said that Chris Kreider should be the captain, but he's not. So, I mean, the captaincy doesn't necessarily mean you're the best player on the team. It means that you have a voice that's heard in the locker room
And
that's
respected.
respected in
And
the locker room.
respected. Absolutely.
Yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
Right?
And so that's what that's about. So, and I think these people think that, you have to be the best player on the team and that makes you a good captain. Not at all. Not at
Okay.
all. Not even close.
So let's agree that we're not going to address the Mark Stone pseudo controversy anymore, that we've had our say in it and it's stupid and it doesn't deserve any more of our
That
podcast
doesn't.
time.
And let's move on. Let's move on to an important subject, in my opinion, anyway. And that's Phil Kessel. What are the Vegas Golden Knights going to do with Phil Kessel?
Well,
They cannot seem, they're being unfair to him by playing him on the third line with basically 2
Kids.
AHL guys.
Yeah.
And they can't expect him to excel in that role. But they gave him a shot up on the top line with Stevenson and Stone. And as Bruce Cassidy said, I had to go to plan B and possibly plan C with Carrier, with Amadio. Like he didn't know, and we have a short clip of that. Hopefully we'll be able to drop that in here, where Cassidy pretty much said, I got to move players around. And when I do that, I'm moving parts of the thing that, he's not going to break up the misfit line. Riley Smith is having a hell of a month of December. He's on fire. So he's not going to touch that line. He's not going to put Kessel down on the fourth line. So the choice is either Kessel plays up top with Stone and Stevenson, or he plays on the third line with two, as you said, two kids who are still trying to find their way in the NHL. And it's hurting Phil. And I looked at I didn't realize this until I looked this morning. In the 17 season that Phil has played, he's only been a plus player 3 seasons out of the 17. He's the biggest minus on the Vegas Golden Knights right now. He's a minus 11, but throughout his whole career, he's been minus except for 3 of the 17 seasons. I didn't realize that. You always hear about Phil scoring timely, important goals, but I guess on the defensive side of the puck is his albatross, so to speak, and that kind of does not fit into a Cassidy type of system where Bruce is all about, as we say, managing the puck, and maybe Phil's not managing the puck correctly for Phil. Is Phil in trouble if there was another coach here? Is Phil's Ironman streak in jeopardy here? Is there a possibility that Phil gets a healthy scratch if things don't improve?
wow. That's an awful lot to unwrap. My first thought is he didn't really have a fair shake when they moved him up because they played him on his opposite wing.
Right.
So before I get past playing, that part of it, that should be noted because it's important. He's spent very little time. Coach Cassidy said we had a conversation with him, and he also said in the quote after the game, I don't know how much time he's spent playing the off wing.
Right.
So receiving the puck when you're on the off wing as it comes up the boards is a completely different evolution as when you handle it on your strong side.
Right.
So that's the hockey nerd minutia of that move up. And they didn't really give it an awful lot of time because they were behind in the game and they were scrambling. So I don't know that Plan Kessel is completely gone yet. I think when Paul Cotter gets back, that's where the rubber's going to meet the road, because right now they have nobody else in the pipeline. Howden was, you said, riding around on a scooter, right? We did see Jack Eichel last night after the game.
He walked right by
in the
us.
tunnel. He walked by and said hello to us, and there was no appreciable limp, or there was no gait in his stride, or anything else like that. So maybe he's close for after Christmas. But the thing about Phil Kessel is, I think they are being a little bit unfair to him, right? He's got 6 goals and 8 assists or something like that. He's only $1.5 million cap hit. At this moment in time, I don't think the streak is in jeopardy, because there's nobody else.
That's the only thing that's saving him, I think. I think if they had a viable, healthy body.
Well, Cotter and Eichel, we think are the first 2.
Right. So are you saying if Cotter and Eichel come back into the lineup, let's say after Christmas, after the Christmas break, is Kessel in trouble? Or does Ronberg have a seat in the press box?
The problem is, and again, we'll just keep quoting Cassidy because he gives us incredibly important information. Ronberg and Lecision haven't learned how to finish in the NHL yet. And my inclination is that this decision might be really big for its historical value. And I think if there, let me rephrase it and sort of clean the slate. If Phil Kessel wasn't 1,000 games into a streak, his ass would have been sat quite a while.
I agree.
That's
100%.
that's the first thing. But he also has played 1,008 or 9 or 10 games in a row. When there is a suitable replacement, when if Eichel comes back first and Cotter slides down to the wing on the third line, or Cotter comes back and goes into the wing on the first line, that's when the real hard, difficult decision of healthy scratching a cat who's played in 1,000 games and scored 400 goals and is approaching 1,000 points. You're talking about scratching him for a kid who has less than 5 total points in the NHL.
Yeah, that's not going to happen.
It's because it's got to be Lecision or Ronberg.
Right. It's not.
Right?
That's not going to happen.
They don't have anybody burning it up down in Kentucky to bring up.
Kessel's an automatic. Kessel plays
right.
Automatically.
I think he plays until somebody can prove that they can make the third line better. I mean, than Kessel. And I think that little bit of depth forward, and I've talked about it on a couple previous episodes, that's where if the trade came, it would be something in that third line slot. Because everything else, when they're healthy, they're not going to mess with the top 2. They're stacking points.
Would you be okay with a little bit tinkling, a tinkle sort of like this, moving War up to center the third line between Cotter and Kessel?
No.
You don't like that at all?
No, because the fourth line's been effective. Carrier is on a career high. He scored his 10th goal last night, career high. The line is not a minus line, right? Waugh has cooled off.
But you got to do
Kolasar is Kolasar, right?
But you have to do something to help Kessel get his mojo back, and he's not going to get his mojo back playing with these 2 kids. He's not. Waugh will create opportunities, and we know Cotter will create opportunities, and Cotter's hard on the puck on both sides of the puck. Cotter's going to give you 200 feet of play.
I would say to you this: when Cotter goes down to 3C, then I would consider, or when Cotter goes down to the wing on the third line, I would consider putting Waugh in 3C.
Yeah,
but not before.
No, that was my point. My point is, when Cotter comes back, do you move Waugh up to play between Cotter and Kessel? I believe that would solve the third line snafu.
And who do you put at 4C? Amadio?
Yeah.
Or Howden? Howden how doesn't look like he's on the
Amadio looked
horizon.
good. Amadio looked good playing up with the big boys last night. He didn't look bad
He
at
didn't
all.
look that good. He didn't look that good. They put Carrier up there in the third period.
Yeah, I think Carrier is the hidden gem here. I think he can play first line, third line, or fourth line. You're not breaking up the misfits. Let's make that clear. That line has been set since 2017, and with the way Riley Smith is playing right now, you're not even going to tinker with that line. That line is on at this point. That line is untouchable in my opinion.
Listen, Carrier finished a rush with Stevie and Stone with an absolute snipe into the upper corner.
Oh, it's great. And Stone said post game, no goaltender in the league was going to stop that shot.
So I think that Will is plan E. I think we're on E, maybe, and plan F. And I'm going to go way off the board on F. Who's the other guy who's been a complete surprise offensively since he came up? I'll give you a hint. He picks Land's pocket.
Oh, he's a forward who's been converted to a defenseman.
Attaboy. Now you're on my plan F.
And he's from Russia, but I don't think that's going to happen.
Why?
So what are you trying to? Are you saying when Theodore?
No, I'm saying now.
Oh, now.
Move him up. Give him a game up there. Bring up Zach Pahal, the captain from Henderson, who looked okay in his time up here. Didn't look out of place, right?
You're really rolling the dice on that one now.
Listen, does Miromanov have a problem shooting the puck?
No.
Does he have a problem carrying the puck up the ice and entering the zone?
And he's got a heavy shot too.
And he's got a bomb of a shot. And like we've established, he's a defenseman who is converted from forward. So if we have a viable defenseman in Zach Pahal to play third pair minutes, we're not expecting him to go up and play with Petro or do anything like that. Miromanov has been one of the, if not the, I'll call him the co-surprise of the year with Cotter. Wouldn't you say?
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. I mean, well, Cotter is obviously the surprise of the year.
Sure.
Yeah, and you were, you know me, I like to give you credit only when credit is due. You were one of the few guys who was on Cotter from day one.
So I think, and hey, Bruce, if you're watching this, throw Miromanov up there for a game, right?
I don't know if Bruce would do that.
If he puts him up there, listen, I don't know. Carrier's next, and I think it's Carrier's turn. That's what for the game tomorrow against St. Louis. I would not
by the
be
way,
surprised.
Carrier's earned that spot too, by the way.
Oh, no. 1,000% he's earned the spot.
Yeah, he's earned it way
no
before
handout.
Miromanov does.
Cassidy's always said, and even Kelly McCrimmon's always said, you got to take somebody's job to make this team, right? Cotter took somebody's job, right? I think Carrier has more than earned an audition, a full game audition tomorrow night at the Fortress against the inconsistently staggering Jordan Binnington's a mental case St. Louis Blues. I think I would not be surprised. I wouldn't bet it because I think even though I'd probably get a pretty good price, Carrier deserves a shot at a full game on the big boy line. That's my profound statement.
But then again, you're breaking up the fourth line that's been very consistent. If you do that.
Yeah, you are. I agree.
And Cassidy likes to roll. Well, he likes to roll four lines. And the other night, he basically only played against the Islanders. He was down to 2.5 lines where Kessel was actually sitting. He almost was sitting in row A in the lower bowl.
Yeah, they could have. Well, we don't have them at the Fortress like they do in other arenas where they have the waitress come down and take orders. Have you ever seen that? It's more at basketball games where if you're sitting on the court side, but they could have sent like one of the cheerleaders or sent the Gila monster thing down there to take his hot dog order because he was on the second row of the bench sometimes where they hide the backup goalie. He was that far
So,
back.
okay, so here's a question. Kessel, I believe, is 35 years old.
Yep.
This may be his last year, or maybe one more year in the NHL after this.
Yep.
Do you think Phil is slowed down,
No,
or do you think it's his partners that he's playing with that is inhibiting
I
him?
think Phil Kessel is Phil Kessel. He scored 400 points. He's going to get to 1,000 maybe this year if he has a little bit of a run. And he's, like you said, and like Bruce Cassidy said, I don't like his 200-foot game, right? He's a defensive liability. You don't lead in a negative way the best team in the Western Conference and have the worst plus minus by being a good defensive player. Just look at everybody else's number. That's not a great pontification by me. It's a fact, right? He's minus 11 on a team that, especially when they're on the road, is pumping in goals like there's no tomorrow.
You know what's a good barometer here is that Kessel is minus 11, and Colasar, who gets a lot of heat from everybody, is a +4.
Yeah.
That's a 15-point
Okay.
difference there.
Okay, but if we run Kessel's stat line out, okay, and he gets 15 goals and 25 assists, right?
Would you be happy with that at the end of
If
the
he
year?
gets 40 points for $1.5 million,
You're happy.
I think it's a steal.
Okay.
But what if he gets 15 goals, 25 assists, and is minus 23?
That's not good.
No, because he's trading points for giving up being on the ice for goals.
And that happened last night. Almost immediately after Vegas scored, Arizona responded with 2 quick goals.
77 seconds.
Yeah, right back. So you're trying to build up some momentum and some goodwill on home ice, and you score a goal, which they lost 4 in a row at T-Mobile. They've been chasing the games. They get a goal, and then Arizona responds. And Vegas gets a goal, Arizona responds. I'm like, what the heck is going on here? This is Arizona should not be able to skate with the Vegas Golden Knights. I understand Vegas Golden Knights have a slew of injuries, part of the game. They started off healthy for the first time in a long time, and now they've got 6 or 7 guys out, and 3 of their best players are out. I mean, yeah, you had Petrangelo out on the personal leave. You had Petrangelo out, you had Theodore out, you had Whitecloud out.
The whole right side of the defense was out.
Unbelievable.
Yet they're still first in the Western Conference and second
Still first
in
in
the
the Western
NHL.
Conference and first in the Pacific, and I believe second overall in the whole entire league.
Yeah, I think Carolina's coming fast, but I think
that's
they're still
going
there.
9-9 at home. Could you imagine if they had a halfway decent record?
Just say 12 and
T-Mobile.
Just say 12-6. Right? If they're a 600 some club at home, which is shouldn't be a huge ask for a very good hockey club. If they're 12-6 instead of 9-9, they're right there with Boston.
If you
look at their record, 50.
If you look at their record, if you were to flip-flop their record, they should be 14-2-1 at home, and I guess it would be kind of acceptable to be 9-9 on the road. It's tough to win on the road.
Listen, given the road trips that they've been on, 5 in a row, 4 in a row, 2 trips to the East in the first 35 games of the year, I take 9-9 all day and all night.
3
twice
time
on
zones
Sundays.
3 times going this way, 3 time zones coming back.
No. If you flip the record right now, I'd be happy as a pig in shit, wouldn't you?
Absolutely.
I mean, I wouldn't be happy if they lost the road games I went to, but that's a different story. But let's talk about goals. Why aren't they scoring at home?
Well, last night was the first time they scored more than 3 goals, right? In what?
12 games.
6 games?
12.
Is it
3, 6, and 3? 12 games in a row. Last time they scored more than 3 goals was Winnipeg.
When they scored 5, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Their scoring is dried up. I'm not sure what's going on.
I mean, part of it is injuries. Part of it is having Eichel not in the lineup and not having Petrangelo in the lineup for 9 games. 1,000%, right? But I think that the problem is that at home, and we talk about it and we probably agree on this. They still don't
It's
shoot the puck
fancy.
enough.
They try to be too
Yeah.
fancy.
I mean, they brought in Coach Littlejohn to say shots, but right? And they play that stupid commercial 50 times in the arena, right? And listen, it's important. As funny as it was to have a celebrated rapper in a room with a bunch of hockey guys, conceptually, I don't think they shoot the puck enough at home. I still think that extra pass
Right.
too many times.
And then last night, the Misfit line was so guilty that Carlson, Marceau, and Riley Smith came down, and they tiptoed the puck back and forth between, and neither of them got a shot off.
Yeah, and a
And-
3-on-1 and a
it was a
3-on-1 in an
3-on-1.
NHL game.
And they didn't get a shot on net. They were like tiptoeing, nice passes to each other. Somebody shoot the puck.
Yeah, and I think, listen, puck luck I think is part of it. They got a lot of bounces early on in the year, but I still think, and we saw it last night with greasy goals. Amadio, Stone following up his rebound 2 times, shots getting through from the point from Pietrangelo and Miramanov. Shoot the fucking puck, boys. Good things happen when you shoot the puck and crash the net. And now, Butch talked about last night, stretching the ozone versus crashing the net. And he kind of liked stretching them out because it opened up a lane down the middle a little bit. And I get that. But when they're in the zone or they're on a rush, they need to start pumping the puck at the net more and going and getting it. The power play is the example. Right now, their puck retrieval on the power play is fantastic. They have the ability to overwhelm teams in their zone, but they're still trying to be the Harlem Globetrotters and get the Sports Center or the NHL Network highlight of the night goal. And they're making goalies who are not spectacular look like Vezina winners.
Yep.
That's my take on it. I mean, they had 30, they outshot them last night, 36-18 or something like that.
I think there was not last night's game, but the 2 previous ones, or maybe even 3, they only had like 10 shots on goal halfway through the game.
Right. So I think that forget about the fan base, forget about wanting to make that extra pass in the highlight reel goal. Get back to that simplified game that we've talked about over and over and over and over. You're a more talented team. You're a more skilled team, right? You have the skill to play other than the fancy pants, tic-tac-toe, no shot on goal play that like we saw last night. Games that they had 27, 28, 20, they should have 40 shots a night. They're that good. Even in this depleted fashion, in this depleted manner with White Cloud and with Theodore and Eichel and Cotter and Howden out. They should be 35, 40 shots a night. And they're not. They're passing up opportunities for grade A attempts to get the absolute home run dunk shot.
Is this team healthy, in your opinion, good enough to get out of the Western Conference?
Oh, hands down.
Hands down.
So
who is their competition to get out of the Western Conference to play for the Cup this year? Is it Winnipeg? Is it Colorado?
Well,
is it Minnesota?
It's not Minnesota.
Okay.
It's not Minnesota. The question about Colorado is the same question that everybody asked about the Golden Knights last year. They're going to get McKinnon back in a couple of weeks. And here, the answer to your question is this. If Colorado gets healthy, it's Colorado.
If not, is it Winnipeg?
I don't know. I don't know if Winnipeg is sustainable. I mean, we look at the New Jersey Devils.
Yeah, they've fallen back a little bit.
They surrendered faster than the French. You know, I don't know that Winnipeg's sustainable. I know I like their coach, right? Hallebuck is a Vezina goalie when he's not, in his own head. It could be somebody like Winnipeg. I'm starting to wonder if Calgary might not mesh, right?
They have,
I mean,
they're
they
having,
flipped the
Calgary's having
roster,
issues.
right?
Calgary's having, and even LA, who's right,
Yeah.
well, I shouldn't say
Yeah.
right behind Vegas. They're in second place and they have a minus goal differential.
Yeah. So yeah, and they put their $5 million goalie on waiver. They just gave $5 million by 3, and they put them. I'm not worried about LA. I'm not worried about Vancouver.
Are you worried about Seattle?
No.
No. So in
I
other
don't-
words, you think Vegas walks away with the Pacific pretty easily?
I think they win the Pacific pretty easily, barring any more major casualties.
Okay, which gets them into the third round, if that's what you're saying.
Yeah.
Okay, so are you saying they play Winnipeg in the third round, or they play Colorado? Those are the two teams you think they may play, have to get by to get to play.
I'll take the easy way out on this and say that it's Colorado,
Okay,
because
And
they're not devastated, but they're hurting right now. But when they get Landeskog and they get McKinnon healthy and they get the rest of the bumps and bruises out, they're still the class of the Central Division.
okay.
This year's Western Conference Final should be what everybody expected last year's Western Conference Final to be. How's that?
Avs, Vegas Golden Knights.
Avs Vegas Golden Knights. And I think that we've seen that when both teams are healthy, the Golden Knights have the ability to slow the Avalanche down. And I don't think that that's changed. And I think that is probably, we'll probably find that to be even more the case, because the Vegas Golden Knights will be a significantly better structured defensive team.
Defensively, absolutely.
With Butch than they were with Pete DeBoer. So I think that, I don't want to sound like a rose-colored glasses fanboy, but there's a real path for them to get to the final. A realistic path, again, barring injuries, unforeseen circumstances, COVID things and stuff like that. This team, as constructed, when healthy, has more than a reasonable, doable path to get to the Stanley Cup final. And wouldn't that be something
Against
if it was
Boston. I know. I was just going to say that.
Man, oh man, wouldn't we make the point to make that trip?
Oh, yeah, for sure. I'm going to Boston if that happens.
Right? I can see all my newfound friends in Boston after what I said about them in the last episode.
I'm not walking into TD Gardens with you. That's for sure. You go first. I'll stand behind.
But no, I think that I think there's a path there. I think that the Pacific Division is falling back to being what the Pacific Division everyone expected them to be.
The weakest in the league.
Right. And I think that as they continue, they're only 35 games into the season. They're not even at the halfway point. And they're getting better. I mean, the power play is getting better. The number is going up. And even if they go on an over, they're starting to gel. You can see both units starting to get really cohesive, and they're retrieving the puck has improved just exponentially over the last 7, 8, 9, 10 games. If they can continue to get some PK, they're gonna be formidable is not a big enough word. They're going to be a significant factor in who raises the cup in June.
And I think their PK has never really been a problem for this organization from year one going forward.
Right.
The PK has always been good. It's their power play that's had issues. But even last night, you liked the fact that the way they were entering the zone on the power play last night. There was a little bit more flow to the mentoring, where in
urgency and speed.
In previous games, it was real choppy. They would send it in and would come right back out, or they would get to the blue line and would get chipped back out to the neutral zone again. It was just like a mishmash of things. Last night, there was a little bit more cohesiveness in getting the puck into the zone And once in the zone, keeping it in the zone too.
And
My only
who's-
problem with the power play is they seem to always have the puck out on the perimeter, and they're not getting guys into the front, into the dirty areas. Stone went there occasionally last night, but I think that's their issue. They need to get a body in front of the net. Goaltenders at this level, they see a shot from 40, 60 feet. Unless it's deflected or they can't see it, they're pretty much stopping it. It's a beach ball to them at this point.
And
they
who's
need to get
who's captaining the second unit of the power play? Quarterbacking the second unit of the power play? And Elmer Man.
I wouldn't say he's the quarterback of the second.
It runs through the point. He's the feeder from the point.
Okay. I'm
Is
not
the-
sure. Yeah, I
Does
understand.
does Petrangelo quarterback the first power play?
Yes, I don't like saying that because he's on the point, he's the quarterback. Because the whole thing with getting the power play to work is getting the puck down low and then getting into the dirty areas in front of
Well,
the net.
listen, when Eichel comes back, it's going to run off the half wall.
Right, exactly.
We know that. But for
But
right
why-
now, Danil Maramanov is the quarterback of P.
Okay, I mean, if that's your
PP2.
opinion, I don't know if I buy into that right now.
I'm just stoking his, I'm just
Yeah.
pumping him up.
You're on
Pumping his
the
tires a
Miramanov-
little bit.
You're on the Miramanov parade right now.
Listen, he came up and he looks like he belongs. And he's playing to his strengths. And that was a terribly direct Bruce Cassidy quote. He's doing what they expect him to do. And I like the fact, because I'm on the Coach Littlejohn parade, that he has no problem whatsoever shooting the puck at the net.
And he does Marchessault.
Right. It's like, let's go, boys.
Those two guys, if they had a gun, they'd be great cops.
Right. Empty
They wouldn't be
barrels.
afraid to be blowing it out.
Yeah, that's it. Let's just empty the
People
clip.
be ducking for
Let's go.
cover.
Do we still have another game on the road? I mean, at home. We have a game against
One
the
more
St.
game
Louis
tomorrow
Blues.
against
We're
St. Louis.
struggling a little bit. Right? They lose 10, they win 8. They're talking about trading Ryan O'Reilly and Tarasenko again.
Tarasenko's gone. If they don't move him, he's a free agent, I believe, at the end of the season.
Yeah, this
So
could
if
be
they-
the third year. Yeah, this could be.
But he's been asking for a trade for the last
Couple of
2
years.
years. Yeah.
So
And you know who's another free agent on that team?
what do they have left?
Think about it.
Is Ryan O'Reilly going to be a free agent?
Yeah. He's a free agent at the end of the season.
Yeah. He got him there. That's going to be his. He's never
You
going to
think
get
so?
him
Yeah.
back. Yeah. Petrangelo is the best player on that team,
All right.
right?
A couple of good free agents coming up.
So what do-
Pasternak from Boston is also an unrestricted free agent at the end of the season too.
So my
Talk about getting the wheelbarrow full of money for these 3 players. Not so much Tarasenko, but Ryan O'Reilly and Pasternak from Boston.
Pasternak, they're already talking about 12.5 by 8.
And ironically, they haven't even offered. Boston has not even talked to his agent about.
I think he
offering him
said he
a
didn't
new
want to
contract.
talk. I think he
Oh,
said
really?
he didn't want to talk about it. Yeah,
Yeah.
I think it was one of those, once the season starts, I'm just going to play hockey kind of thing.
Which usually means I want to test free agent waters.
Maybe. So tomorrow night, which Golden Knights team do you think we're going to see?
Yeah, that's another thing. Yeah,
Well, I mean, the name of this episode is going to be The Tale of Two Nights. Well, now it's really 3 nights. It's the road and the home and last night's night.
right.
last
because
night's-
they've
last
been two.
night's
They've been
nights.
they've been 2 different teams.
So are we going to see the team that gets off on the jump right at the first face-off, chips pucks behind the Blues defenseman and go gets it? Or are we going to see the Golden Knights team that had 10 shots with 10 minutes to go in the second period?
In my opinion, it's going to be an indication of where tomorrow night's going to go. Whatever team scores the first goal. But then again, in the St. Louis game, that usually doesn't matter.
No, the over under in the St. Louis games could easily be 9, and they'd cover the over
Yeah,
plenty of times.
if you're up by 3 goals and you're the Vegas Golden Knights in St. Louis is coming back. If St. Louis is up by 3 goals, Vegas is coming back. There've been some wild games at T-Mobile with St. Louis. So
You know,
hopefully,
that brings up a really good point, and it's not on our notes to talk about, but I think we should address it since we've got a couple more minutes. The Golden Knights, for a good while, were scoring the first goal. And yeah, they were blowing some leads, but they were scoring the first goal a lot. During the 3-6-3, we'll call last night's game sort of an outlier. When they were scoring 3 or less, they seemed almost fragile when they got behind. I don't want to say that they lost their composure, because I don't think that's really an accurate description of what happened. But it felt like they couldn't score. And if they were down 1, they had to go like right to the panic button and start playing out of their sort of comfort zone. And that's kind of surprising to me that, you know, and that's happened a number of times where I don't want to say they fell apart, but they just seemed shaken by giving up the first goal.
Eddie, I think you know this. It's so much easier to play in the NHL with a lead than it is chasing the game.
Sure.
And that's the problem right there. Teams get a 1-2 goal lead, and all they want to do is shut it down. And now you force the other team to open it up a little bit, which leads to odd man rushes going the other direction. So, like I said, I think tomorrow night, even though it's St. Louis, I think the first goal tomorrow night is going to be important. I mean, I even asked Logan Thompson after the game, was getting the win last night, was that kind of taking the monkey off this team's back? I'm not sure this one game is the cure-all here. I think they have to win tomorrow night to feel really comfortable going into the Christmas break. They come out playing 2 games in California, I believe, one against the Kings, one against Anaheim. I think they've got. I said to Ryan Wallace last night on the post-game show, I thought last night, even though it was a game not even halfway through the season, was a paramount game to win, just to get their head straight of being able to win at T-Mobile. I think tomorrow night, same situation. They need to get the first goal. They need to put St. Louis away early, and they need to go into the Christmas break on a 2-game winning streak. And coming out, hopefully, Eichel will be ready to come back, and the team will be a lot stronger. Maybe Cotto will even be ready to come back, and I think the team will be in good shape going into Southern California against 2 teams that they should beat. And now we got a 4-game winning streak going.
I agree. They need to win tomorrow night to feel good about themselves.
Absolutely.
Going into the Christmas break. They
Right.
get 3 days off. They get a quick 2 days in, like you said, in Southern California, and then the Avalanche.
Right.
So
I think
this team needs to get their headspace.
These next 3 games are very important, I think,
Yeah.
for the psyche of the Golden Knights, just to get their mojo back, you know?
Yeah, their swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a perfect mojo,
Yeah.
swagger.
Yeah.
Yeah, they need to start becoming the Golden Knights again. Because they got shook a little bit. You know,
And
they were hearing they heard the occasional boo bird, right?
Not only the Boo Birds, but if you look at the stands in the middle of the 3rd period, they were an awful lot of empty seats. People were just leaving the building, you know?
Yeah.
Which is good for us because we can get to our cars quicker after the game. But
Right.
but I prefer to, don't give up on this team. This team has got great potential.
No.
It's got, I believe it has good direction. I think the coaching staff is excellent. I think the team is in great shape, barring the injuries. I think this team is going to go deep this year, as long as we can keep guys off LTIR, you know? That's been a problem.
An awful long way from the first episode this season when you said you thought they were going to struggle to get into the playoffs.
I did. And I tell you why. I thought.
Listen, I don't. You don't have to justify it because it's probably true.
The goaltending was my biggest question mark going into the season, and they got off to an incredible start. They've come back a little bit.
Yep.
But I think, Thompson and Hill have both been playing good enough to win games especially when they were getting the scoring. When they're not getting the scoring, which was the case prior to last night, then they're going to struggle. They're going to lose games 3-2, 2-1, and it's just to teams they shouldn't be losing to.
We also have, for the first time this season, the Howie's Hockey Tape AHL Player of the Week lurking in Henderson. You know who
You
that
do?
is?
No, I do not.
Laurent Brossoit.
Oh,
2 shutouts in a row, a 960 something save percentage.
they can't.
Uh-oh.
They can't bring him up.
Uh-oh.
They can't bring him up.
Uh-oh. We haven't had a goalie controversy to talk about other than trying to make one between Hill and Thompson to see who the number one was.
Wait, hold on. We did have a goalie controversy. One of them wound up in Minnesota.
No,
actually wound up in Chicago, and then
this season.
Oh, I understand, but don't say the Golden Knights have never had a goalie controversy.
No.
We've had a big one, which divided the fan base literally right down the middle.
So if one of these goaltenders regresses too far to the considered norm, you have a proven backup who seems to now be fully recovered from hip surgery just down the 215 in Henderson. That's all I'm going to say. But I want to talk
right across the street from me.
That's it. So that's going to wrap up episode 46. Joe's panting, begging to get off the air.
Well, I'm going out to dinner.
Oh, okay. If you say so.
Yeah, Roma Deli.
Hey, listen, we want to take a second and wish all of you Merry Christmas.
Absolutely.
Happy Hanukkah. Happy whatever it is you celebrate. We want you to have a happy and safe one.
Safe one, for sure.
Right? If you happen to be in Vegas and you're going to do the New Year's thing, please be careful. It's gonna be a madhouse, right? I'm locking the door at 8 p.m.
You staying in?
Oh yeah. Yeah. I got nothing for the amateurs.
You got nothing. Nothing to go. You're not going out?
No.
Are you gonna even watch the fireworks?
Oh, I won't be awake by then.
You'll be asleep.
No. I'm gonna probably order in dinner around 5, and that's gonna I'll wake up, I'll sign checks with the wrong year. That's it. It's all like at New Year's Eve. I'm gonna watch a hockey game in the Fortress. I'm gonna watch some football. I'm gonna watch some football in the Fortress. Watch Michigan while who's coming to town on New Year's? Nashville. I think it's Nashville. Anyway,
so Michigan's playing at
Michigan's playing at 1:00 at the Fiesta Bowl against TCU in Arizona.
At Allegiant.
No, in Arizona.
Oh, in Arizona. Okay.
Yeah, so I'm going to watch it on TV.
Oh, when you said the Fortress.
Oh, I'm going to be in the Fortress.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
I get it.
Anyway, happy holidays. Be safe. Have fun. If you drink, please don't drive. It's really a bad thing, especially here in Nevada. Right? You'll go to jail. They'll have every cop in the city out there. DUI checkpoints. Please be careful. And I think we might see you before New Year's, but if we don't, have a great New Year, and we'll be able to talk to you again for episode 47 just after the New Year.
Sounds
Anything
good.
to add, Joe?
No, just I wish everybody a Merry Christmas, Happy New Year.
Perfect.
And
a
like
tale
Eddie
of
said,
two
be
nights
safe.
is over. Be
Tale
safe.
of two nights.
All right, we're out of here, folks. Thanks. Have a great holiday.
Okay.